Alright, what's up everybody? We're back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be doing my Western Conference predictions. I did the Eastern Conference the other day. Go back and watch that one. But today we're doing the Western Conference, trying to predict the standings, where I think it's going to end up. And this one's going to be very, very hard, man. The West is crazy. A lot of pretty good teams. Someone's going to have to miss it. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens throughout this Western Conference. I'm going to try to predict it. Am I going to be right? Probably not, but, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, also like that. I really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. And, yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. Alright, so here we go. We're back on the EnjoyPredictions.com. Shout out to Enjoy Basketball and them for making this. And, yeah, here we go. So we're going to start our predictions in the Western Conference, starting from the bottom, number 15 in the West, the worst team in the Western Conference. But thinking about this, and I think I'm gonna put the Portland Trailblazers. Portland, obviously, whole new roster. Damian Lillard's gone. They're now led by Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, and DeAndre, and they also have Shane Sharp. Very fun young team, but probably not gonna be great. Not gonna be good. Anthony Simons is the number one option. I don't know how he's gonna look as the number one option now for a full year. Scoot's probably gonna have some good moments. Shane's gonna have some good moments. Ain's gonna have some decent moments. But just looking at their team overall, comparing to especially how stacked this Western Conference is right now, I think they have to be 15. Probably gonna be at least 15, 14. Maybe they could surprise some people if Scoot has a crazy year, if DeAndre Ayton is really locked in, if Sharp takes a big jump, then maybe. But looking at it, I think 15 probably, which is fine for them. They're young. They're not supposed to be winning a lot of games. Just develop the young talent. That's really it. At 14 now, I am going to put the Utah Jazz. The Jazz, they're a team that, last year they had a lot of people expected them to be the worst team in the league, but then they had a great start to the year. We're in play-in conversations, and then traded off all their veterans at the trade deadline, and then they fell. And this year, I'm expecting them to not be great. Lauri Markkanen, we'll see what he can do this year after having a most improved player year last year. See what he does this year. Still think he's going to be good. Big young team. They don't have a lot of guard depth. Like right now, their guards are Colin Sexton, THT, who's been really good in the preseason, Jordan Clarkson, Keontae George. Their guard depth is not great, which that's very important if you want to be a good team. But then again, I don't think Utah is trying to be a good team. Right now they're just trying to develop the young talent. They're in year 2 of this rebuild. They already have some good pieces at Lauri Markkanen, who they're also going to have to pay pretty soon. So we'll see how long that lasts. Walker Kessler had an amazing rookie year. Excited to see what he does in the second year. They traded for John Collins, who I think could be solid over there. They drafted Taylor Hendricks with a top 10 pick. Keontae George will have a really good summer league. Bryce Sensabaugh. They have a couple of young pieces they put together. But I don't think they have their guy, face of the franchise. This is who the rebuild's going to build around yet. Portland, I think, has Scoot and Shane Sharp. Utah doesn't have that yet, even though Lauri Markkanen was really, really good. He is 26, 27 years old, and I think he's on the last year of his deal, or he has one more year left. I don't know if he's faced the franchise, the rebuild yet. So I think Utah this year, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to tank and try to find their guy maybe in this next year's draft. But also don't be surprised if Utah competes for a lot of teams. Utah, one thing about them, they compete. They play hard, and they're not going to be just an easy 30, 20-point win. So that's the thing about Utah, got to put 14. Now this is where I had consensus these two were going to be the worst two. Now this is where it gets really tough. This is where it really, really starts. At 13, you got some considerations here. You got the Rockets are going to be in consideration here, I think. The Spurs are in consideration here. Even a few other teams. But for 13, I'm going to go with the... No, I'm going with the Houston Rockets. Nope. I messed up. I'm going with the Houston Rockets at 13. Hold on, I can just reset it real quick. I'm going with the Rockets at 13. I love the moves they made in the offseason. They got a whole lot better. They brought in a new coach, veteran players, drafted Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore. I like their team. Don't think they're ready to compete for a play-in and playoff spot yet. I think that's a little bit down the line. This year is just a big development year. Jalen Green, if he can take the jump. I think Jabari Smith Jr. is going to have a good sophomore year. We'll see what Alperen Sengun can do. If Amen and Cam Whitmore can make some impact. What Van Vliet, Dillon Brooks now with bring their veteran leadership can do. What Ime can install into these young guys. But I think The Rockets, I don't think they're ready for the play-in playoff spot yet, but I think 13th is a W of a season for the Rockets, especially the last 2 or 3 years. They've been the dumpster fire of the NBA the last few years, and now for them to finish 13th, and them, as long as they look better and don't look like the worst team in the league, that's a W for them, you know? So I think 13 is good for Houston. At number 12, this might be where I put San Antonio. It's going to get some consideration here. I'm going to go with, San Antonio at number 12. I'm considering putting them up a little higher because Victor Wembanyama has been amazing so far in the preseason, and him alone maybe could win them some more games. But ultimately, looking at their talent and their roster compared to all the rest of the West, they're just going to be left out, which is fine. You know, again, they're not a team that should be trying to make the play-in or playoffs and stuff. They're in a rebuild. They just got Wemby, you know, and they're supposed to be young. But yeah, Wemby has looked like a game changer so far this preseason. Last night against the Warriors, he was amazing. So yeah, Dan Vassell has looked really good so far this preseason. They got guys like Zach Collins, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Trey Jones. They have a great young team. They have a really good young team. They got a good coach. Obviously, they're going to compete. They're going to, steal some wins potentially off some good teams. But just looking at them compared to the rest of the West, I got them at number 12. Now this is where we really, really start. All 11 of these teams could be playoff teams, but someone's going to have to miss the play-in overall. And the team that I have missing the play-in, unfortunately, I don't want to do this, but it's the Dallas Mavericks. Now, here's my reasoning. I said it in my preseason video that I did yesterday. If you missed that, go back and watch that one. But I said this in the preseason. During the draft and during the first few days of free agency, I was a big fan of the Mavericks. I thought they made great moves. I was like, the Mavericks are definitely going to be a playoff team. The Mavericks, I was high on them. But the more that I think about their team, the more I see the Western Conference stack up, the more that I see them in the preseason, all this, I've lost a lot of my confidence in the Mavericks. Now, they could definitely be a team that gets in there again. After 11 and up, any of these teams can really be in any spot. The Western Conference is just insane right now, and it's going to be very fun to watch. But for me personally, I just don't love this Mavericks team that I thought it was. Of course, it's gonna be tough for them to miss out because Luka Doncic by himself can win you some games in the regular season. Luka is just insane. Kyrie, if he's healthy out there playing, those two right there, they can win you games by themselves. They're so talented. It's really though about the depth and the rest of this roster. The rest of this roster is a big what if. We don't know what we don't know what Jaden Hardy, who's only a second-year guy, so he's got to develop, and we don't know what he's going to be like. Josh Green, he had a really good year last year. Is he going to improve? We got to see. Maxi Kleber, what is he going to give you? Dwight Powell, the rookies, Derek Lively and Omax Prosper. Are you putting that much on the plate of these two first-round picks, rookies already, trying to contribute to a playoff team? Are you putting that much on the plate? Seth Curry, he's getting a little older, he can still shoot, but it's just there's too many question marks around the rest of the roster. Tim Hardaway Jr., how consistent he's gonna be. Rashawn Holmes, how is he gonna play? There's so much just question marks after Luka and Kyrie, and even with maybe Luka and Kyrie with the injuries. Luka is already hurt. He had a strain. We don't know if he's gonna be ready for the start of the season. Kyrie played, so maybe, but there's always a risk of Kyrie getting hurt. There's too many question marks around this Dallas Mavericks roster. And Jason Kidd, we don't know if Jason Kidd the coach. Is it Jason Kidd the right coach? He had a really good year his first year. Last year, not so great. Is Jason Kidd the coach? There's too many variables that I don't love. And there's too many question marks about this Mavericks team compared to the rest of the Western Conference that, looking at it, for me, they're the 11 team out. Which is unfortunate because I really like this Mavericks team. I really want to see Luka go far and win, and I want to see it, but it's just, it is what it is. Compared to the rest of this West, it's tough for me to put them above a lot of these teams. Now at number 10, in the play-in, number 10, I'm going to go with the New Orleans Pelicans at 10. I consider them to be the odd team out, but, New Orleans really were just banking on health. at this point. Zion has been playing in the preseason. He's been playing solid. If Zion's there and BI is there, they're going to be a good team. That's really what we're banking on. We're banking on health for New Orleans. But besides that, they're a really solid team. Unfortunately, Trey Murphy's going to miss a few weeks to start the season, who's a big piece of this team. They still have CJ, they still have Valanciunas, 2 solid veterans. Still have guys like Jose Alvarado, Najee Marshall, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, their new rookie they brought in. I like him. Dyson Nails, we'll see if he can take a jump this season. Like, they still have a pretty solid roster overall, So I think as long health is the real question is if Zion and BI are playing games, they can win. And they can make the play-in. If they're not playing games, then they could be the team out. But for now, I got them at 10. At number 9, I am going to put the Oklahoma City Thunder at 9. I think before, if you would have asked me this list before the preseason started, OKC would have been my 11th team. They would have been my team out. But looking at this OKC team now in the preseason, I think Chet Holmgren changes so much. Chet Holmgren, literally, I talked about this a lot in my preseason video as well. Chet Holmgren is the missing piece to this team. He has come in and he's been everything they needed and more. They needed a big man, guy that can protect the rim, a center they can comfortably put in a lot of different positions, and he has done it. His defense has been amazing. Ball handling, shooting the 3 ball. He's just been the perfect guy to put in this OKC team in with. Shea being good, Giddey a year better, Jalen Williams a year better, Lou Dort's solid. They still have a lot of really good solid young players like Cason Wallace, Isaiah Joe. This OKC team, a lot of people have big expectations. I've seen a lot of people put OKC really, really high. I'm not doing that. But I wouldn't really be surprised though. I would not be surprised if OKC shocks a lot of people and jumps up to maybe even out of the play-in. But for now, I'm not going to do that yet to OKC. I don't think that, I don't know about that yet because, again, there's so many great teams in the West. But for now, I got OKC number 9. Number 8, the 8th seed in the Western Conference. I'm going to go with this one is pretty tough. But, I'm going to go with the Memphis Grizzlies at number 8. They're going to be out for Ja. They're going to be out with Ja 25 games to start the season. They still have a really solid team, though. Desmond Bane has looked really good in this preseason. I'm predicting an all-star-like year for Desmond Bane. Jaren is still pretty good. And they're always a pretty good regular season team. They have Marcus Smart, who should fill a role while Ja's out. The only thing that, really, the West has gotten a lot better. There's teams in the West that have gotten a lot better than I believe in a lot. Again, missing Ja for 25 games, even though it's 25 games to be in the season, still a lot of games when you really think about it. 25, I don't know what percentage that is, but it's a lot of the season. And I don't know, I don't love their depth as much as I have. Their forward position is kind of weird. They might probably, if Ja comes back, they're probably going to run a small lineup of maybe Marcus Smart the 3. And even then, if Marcus Smart comes off the bench, your forwards are what? Zaire Williams? While you're also running Jaren and Steven Adams at the 4 and 5. But let's say one of those guys is out, like Steven Adams or Jaren is out. Who's your backup forwards? You have Santi Aldama's been decent. Then you have Zaire Williams, David Roddy. I don't know. I don't love that. I don't know. Looking at the depth of this team, I don't love it as much. They don't have Tyus Jones anymore. I don't know. It's just the Grizzlies. And I feel like maybe some teams maybe have the Grizzlies number. This might be the year where the Grizzlies start to kind of regress in the regular season, because the last few years they've been amazing in the regular season. This year, without Ja for 25 games, their depth is not the same. With some more, people are focusing maybe on Memphis and giving more respect to them as a good team. Maybe they fall a little bit, so I'm predicting they fall a little bit. Still going to be in the play-in, probably still going to make the playoffs, but I have them at number 8. Now at 7, this is where I'm going to put the Golden State Warriors. I'm going to put the Warriors at 7. Even though they still have Steph Curry. And with Steph Curry, you're going to be good. You still have Clay. Still got Draymond. Chris Paul now added, he's fit. But they're getting older. Their depth, I still don't love their depth, even though they did bring in Chris Paul, who's going to be a big piece for them. I still don't love their depth. Kuminga has looked amazing in this preseason. I can't be confident that he's going to get as much minutes he deserves. You know, Moses Moody still has development to do. Darius Saric is decent. I don't know how much we can expect of Brandon Podziemski to be out there. Like, their depth still doesn't move me, doesn't have me super excited. But then again, as long as they have that three of Curry, Clay, and Draymond, and Chris Paul, if he fits in how he fits in, they're still going to be a good team. But I don't know. I just have a feeling I don't love them as much as a lot of the other teams, so I'm going to put them at 7. At 6, now I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm buying into Minnesota. They were 5-0 in the preseason. I know it's preseason, but even before the preseason started, I'm buying into Minnesota, man. I'm buying in. Anthony Edwards, I think, is going to take another jump. You know, loved what I saw from Team USA, and he's going to take another jump. They have Jaden McDaniels, who I think is going to take a little jump as well. He's a great defender. Offensively, he's going to do some good things. Mike Conley there, a good vet. You know, once Mike Conley got there last year, they started to really become really good. Karl-Anthony Towns and Rudy. Rudy has looked a lot better in this preseason. Cat looks really, really good. Cat missed a lot of time last year, so they couldn't really get that great time to adjust and gel together, him and Rudy, until the end of the season. But now a full off season, full preseason to kind of mesh together. I think Cat's going to have a really good season. Their depth is pretty solid as well. You know, they brought in, well, they still have Naz Reid out there, Jordan McLaughlin, Shake Milton, Troy Brown. I feel like I'm forgetting some people. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kyle Anderson, obviously. Like, I don't know. There's just something about this Timberwolves team that I like, man. Defensively, I think they're going to be pretty good. And offensively, they're going to be solid. I don't know. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. And I got them above the play-in, in the playoffs, comfortably right there at 6, man. I don't know. I just got that feeling. At number 5, I'm going to put the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Kings are big. I feel like they have a wide range where they can be. I put them 5. I definitely can see them being a play-in team at 7 and 8. You know, like they're a very interesting team to me to rank because last year they had such a big season. You know, it's going to be pretty hard to replicate that because a lot of people had great seasons. You know, and now after 1 year, everyone's kind of like, all right, we got the King. Like, okay, we got more film on them. You know, kind of taking them a lot more seriously than we did last season. But I still think the Kings' offense is going to be good. I don't think it's going to be elite like it was, but I think with their team, they're still going to be good enough to be a playoff team. You know, you got De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Those two guys right there are still all-star level players. Kevin Huerter is still going to be solid. I think Keegan Murray's going to have a really good sophomore season. Their bench, they kind of have the same team. You know, they kind of brought the same guys back. Let's run it again. Got to get better. Of course, you're still banking on a lot of guys being as good as they did last year because a lot of guys like Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter and these guys had great years, you know, so it's going to be a little tough to replicate that again, but I think the Kings still could be good enough where even if they don't replicate it, they still could be a good enough team, they have a good enough coach and good enough players that they can be in this spot. At number 4 now, I have the LA Clippers. Now, the Clippers are a team as well that I consider them around this 7 and 8. They ended up at 4, I guess, for me. I didn't really think too much about what I was going to do before I started this. I just went with what I felt. And so I'm going to go with the LA Clippers at number 4. Now, this is a big gamble right now. It's a big gamble, you know. And to be honest, looking at it now, I kind of want to put them a little lower. Because, you know what? I'm going to switch Kings and the Clippers. I'm gonna put the Clippers 5. I don't know if I could put them 4. I'm gonna put the Clippers at 5 for me. I think the Clippers, we're banking on a lot. We're banking on health, kind of similar to New Orleans. Banking on health. We're banking on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George playing games. You know, and if those two are playing games, they're a really good team. If those two are out there playing games, they're gonna win some game. You know, and Russell Westbrook, I love how he fits with the Clippers. Terrence Mann, the untouchable guy, you know, another Skechers man. He has been pretty solid. Got Zubac is still good. Their bench, even though it is a little older, they have Norman Powell, Marcus Morris as the old guys, Nick Batum, but I like they also have some young guys in. Bones Highland has looked really good in this preseason. I love that they brought in Cam Martin Jr. I think he had a really good year with the Rockets. I think he's gonna show off with the Clippers. Like they have a pretty solid team. Really, again, it's all just about health. If Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are gonna be out there playing games, if they are, then they can be definitely top 5, absolutely. If they're not, then they're probably gonna be in the play-in. Simple as that. Now the top 3. At number 3, gotta go with the Lakers here. They've looked really good in the preseason. LeBron and AD are out there. And really, it's going to be Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis is playing the way he's been playing so far in the preseason, the Lakers are going to be really, really good. You know, they have the depth. Austin Reeves is probably going to take another jump. D'Lo looks like he's going to be buying into a role that fits him a lot more. Taurean Prince has been really good so far in this preseason. You got guys like Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent have been solid. You know, they have a really, really solid team. You know what I mean? They have a really good team. I'm not gonna be surprised if they're not in time number 1, number 2. I even thought about putting them a little lower, maybe 4 or 5, just because I feel like at this point the Lakers aren't really hammering in on regular season. You know, like they're definitely a team I can see being 4 or 5, but it doesn't really matter what their rankings are. Last year they were the 7th seed and made it to the conference finals. You know, so they didn't really care about their standings. But I think the Lakers, if AD comes in hungry and has doing what he's doing in the preseason, I think they're gonna be really good. They're gonna backpack that throughout the regular season. Now, number 1 and 2. Number 2, I'm going to go with the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets obviously could be number 1. I'm not surprised if they're going to be number 1. They still have, as long as they have that starting 5 together, they also have Jokic, Murray, Gordon, Porter. They're going to be really good. KCP in there. Their bench, of course, is a lot different. They're going to be relying on a lot more younger guys. Christian Brown to take a jump. Payne Watson to take a jump. Zeke Naji to be solid. They still got Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, and them, but also their rookies, Julian Strawther. I made the evals video on him. He's been doing really good in the preseason. Go back and check that. Jalen Pickett, Hunter Tyson maybe could have a role on this team. But I think the only reason I'm putting them at 2 is because maybe at this point, last year they had the best, first time ever being number 1 seed, had one of the best seasons, then went to the championship. I feel like after you win a championship in the regular season, the next year in the regular season, you kind of take a step back. Not being like, we're good. Well, kind of. In a sense of like, all right, we don't need to gun for number 1. Especially seeing the last few years how standings, number 1 seed, and doing that doesn't really, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, because of course it matters matchups and stuff, but you don't have to be a number 1, number 2 to get there. You know, like again, the Nuggets faced the Lakers, who were the 7th seed, and they faced the Heat, who were the 8th seed. So I feel like they're going to be a team that, you know, if they're not going to be gunning for number 1, gunning for the best record, gunning for any of that, they're just going to be like, you know what, we're good. We're still going to be a really good team because we have a really good team, but, you know, if we don't win 58 games, 59 games, that's okay. You know, because, again, this is a stacked Western Conference. You know, the regular season, of course, we're going to take seriously. You're going to want to win games, but we're not going to be gunning for 60 wins or gunning for any of that. We're just going to, especially when we just won a championship, we're going to kind of, you know, lay back a tiny bit. Still be good, but lay back a tiny bit. And that leaves the Suns the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. I love what I've been seeing in the preseason for the Suns. KD, Booker, Beal. They've been pretty good. Their role players have been solid. Nurkic, I think, is a good center for them. Grayson Allen and Eric Gordon have been shooting the lights out. Guys like Josh Okogie, Yuta Watanabe, Keita Bates-Diop, you know, Jordan Goodwin, Chimezie Metu, Drew Eubanks. They're going to fill the roles that they need to. You know, but I think the Suns are going to have kind of like, not say a chip on their shoulder, I don't know, I just get a feeling from the Suns they're going to come out aggressive in this regular season. They're going to come out and try to be like, you know, a lot of people are talking about, oh, super team and all this stuff like that. But I think they're going to come out and be like, you know, we're going to shut everybody up and we're going to go in on the regular season and they're going to be good. So I have them at the number 1 seed. But yeah, here's my Western Conference standings, man. So I got the Suns at number 1, Nuggets. So my top 6, they're going to be in the playoffs firmly. I have the Suns at 1, Nuggets 2, Lakers 3, Kings 4, Clippers 5, Minnesota 6. Then my playing teams, I have the Warriors 7, Grizzlies 8, Thunder 9, Pelicans 10, and the teams I'm missing are the Mavericks 11, Spurs 12, Rockets 13, Jazz 14, Portland at number 15. Yeah, those are my Western Conference standings. That'll be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do also like that. I really appreciate it. It helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.